Hello, my name is Ryan Park. I shoot photos with film and digital. And I usually in the nature, not in the city like this. But I'm here today.
Here today. And what coffee do we have this morning?
I have is it yuzu cold brew? It was awesome.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh
I was a bit worried when I ordered because there was not much choices for the cold brew, but it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go back and have 5 more of those, I think, tomorrow morning.
It was really good. It was really good. Yeah.
So you just mentioned you don't usually photograph in a city. You're a nature photographer, and
Yeah.
as I was telling you earlier, I said I was excited to have you because a little bit of a different. You're still a photographer at the end of the day.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
You're
of course.
still going through a very similar photography philosophy, how you choose what to photograph, which has been amazing this morning for me to talk to you and learn about your process. Talk me through that. Talk me through nature, how... Actually, you know what? Let's take a step back. Where did you start in photography? Because that, I think, is quite interesting as well.
Starting off photography.
Yeah, because you were talking about, similar to me, you start taking photos of the Opera House.
Yeah.
Sunrise, sunsets, all the pretty things that Sydney has to offer.
So basically, back to the beginning, I got my first camera from my father before I come to Australia.
Okay.
There was a film camera. And now I've gone through a few rolls without any information. It was automatic. I just shoot and develop. It was just fun. It was just my first, my camera. And then during that time, I was about to come to Australia. I looked for the price of processing and developing in Australia. It was very expensive. I was a student and I feel like I can't afford.
Right.
And
I still can't afford.
And then I bought the little digital camera. I think that was a Ricoh GX100.
Okay.
So I shoot black and white with that one. And then, the same as other people, I was shooting Opera House, Harbour Bridge every single day, sunset, sunrise. Yeah, so that was the beginning of my photography. I really enjoyed doing those things for about 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I joined with my friends when they're going to the nature or wherever. And I think at some point when I bought my own printer, 3 years ago, that changes my photography completely. Because I was choosing, as I told you, I was choosing the photo that I want to print it out to put it on the wall. And then I couldn't really choose any of the photos. I didn't like this one because of the, small things on the corner. And I feel like I've been shooting photos every day, a lot. But how come I don't have any photo that I want to show off other people?
Wow.
It was very frustrated. And I feel like what I have done, I spent hours and hours taking photos, chasing up the sunrise, sunset. But how come I have not even a single photo that I want to print it out, put it on the wall? And that's the time I was thinking back my photography. What's going on? Yeah, I think that's the time I changed my photography a little bit away from city. I going to the beach area, mountain, and I found different interesting in the nature, and it's more relaxing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and because when I'm shooting Opera House and Harbour Bridge or sunset, sunrise, I was always rushing. I only have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, this beautiful sky, and then sometimes I get really stressed.
Right.
And I feel like that's not the reason I'm doing photography, because as a hobby photographer, photography needs to be fun, and it needs to be, give me a bit of relaxation as well, not getting stressed. So I start to looking at the nature area, and then even that time I was, improving and developing myself or changing myself in terms of photography by other photographers, some of my favorite photographers as well. So at the moment, usually in the nature, at least once a week. Yeah, taking photos of nature at the moment.
Tell me, so I complain to myself at least all the time about the amount of time that I have to take out of my day. And I work in a city, I'm close, a 30-minute drive, 30-minute commute to the city. How much time do you spend in the car driving to get to nature?
I think because I usually go to Blue Mountain most of the time, minimum 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours.
Going there
And
and,
then
coming back another 1.5 hours.
That doesn't include the hiking that you have to do or the walking that
I
you have
try to avoid too much hiking
to do. Okay.
because my backpack usually very heavy.
Right.
So I usually have a digital camera, medium format film camera, 2 tripods. So usually about 10 to 12 kilo for my backpack. So I try to avoid. But at the same time, I start my exercise recently. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Okay. That's, 12 kilos on your back and hiking would not be very fun. It's a big workout. Talk to me about, this is an interesting part when you mentioned you were going to print one of your images from the Opera House or the bridge.
Yeah.
And you didn't think it was good enough to print because of imperfections here or there. And then that kind of got you into looking at nature for photographing. And it reminded me of a friend of mine, Parham, who's talking about, he's an analog photographer only. And to him, photography, the process is not only making the image in the camera, but also physically making it in the darkroom and printing it as well. Which is, for someone who's done, like me, who's done mostly digital photography until recently, is not a concept that really, if I'm being frank, makes sense. I'm like, oh, I've got the camera in my hand, I'm out, I am composing a scene in my head, I've got the right settings, and I'm waiting for the moment to happen, I've captured the moment, and my job is done. Sure, I go home, import it into Lightroom, maybe tweak the image a little bit. But yes, I've done some prints, but to me, that additional part around printing is still very a new concept. Is there anything else you can add to that conversation there around physically printing your images?
I think everyone's reason to take photos and then concept of photography is very different.
Right.
So like what I'm sharing is my opinion is when I take photo before I was taking photos, just putting on the computer and then just putting on the Instagram, that's it.
That's it.
And then just sitting on the hard drive all the time. And when I start printing, it changed my photography a lot. Thinking about the whole composition, small things here and there, because I try to print in a big print, at least like A3 plus. And also the difference in the paper is amazing. Like there are tons of different paper, and then depends on what you want for the viewer to feel it from the photo. The paper is very important. Some of them is textured paper, matte paper, glossy paper. Even the same textured paper is like all the brand is different. So I feel like for me, the people these days feel like, oh, why are you doing printing? You know, nowadays they have a digital frame or something. It's much cheaper. Color is more accurate. But if I don't have a physical print, I feel like it's not completed photo yet. So some photos it takes for a year. I go back, even last night, I went back to my last year photo and looking back again. And then some of the photo I want to edit a little bit more. And then when it's completed, I start printing. And then if I don't like it, I just keep some time. Because sometimes when you're editing today and when you're editing tomorrow, it's different. And then I want photo to be more stable, like rather than everyday different feeling. Yeah, so I look back my old photos again before printing it. So when it's printed, I put it on the side as a completed photo. And then if I need to print later on, I print it again.
Wow, that's incredible. So if you guys haven't noticed yet, Ryan is very immaculate around, and in particular as well, around how he chooses images, how often he goes back to the same location, the printing process as well. And that's why I love talking to him. This is just incredible, the quality of the work that you do. Tell me the story around when you were sharing this morning that you recently went to, I think it was up north, and you went to scout a location in a sense, and you took some photos with your phone to see if it was going to work out or not. Talk to me through that process. And did you want to keep walking? I know it's kind of sunny, but we can keep walking.
Yeah,
or
we can go.
Yeah?
So last weekend I went to one of the area in Blue Mountain. It's about 3 hours drive from Sydney. And
That's
I went,
one way, right? 3
yeah,
hours one way.
one way.
Yeah.
I went there with my camera, but I wasn't really thinking to take much photos because I was with my wife together. Because when I'm with the family, I try to put off a bit of photography on the side. If I do have an opportunity, I try to, but I try to keep my family time as a family.
Of course, makes sense.
So on that day, I was thinking to find something interesting because I've been there like more than 5 times before, but every time you go, you see the different things. And at this time, I was thinking like I was about to come back, and I found really interesting frame on the ground. It was a bit of a little tree on the ground, like kind of roots on the ground, and then a bit of a wildflower on the side. And then overall, it looks like a big tree. So I tried to make a composition because my wife was resting on the side. And then I couldn't really see good composition.
Right, okay.
So I think good thing as a landscape, like nature photographer is, unless there's a flowers or seasonal things, it stay there most of the time.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, let me just take a sample photo with my iPhone and with my digital camera, and then I'll come back because I'll think about the composition at home, and then I'll come back. When I came back home, I spent hours and hours. Still haven't found the composition yet.
Okay.
But I'm probably gonna
Go back.
Yeah,
Another-
next week because there was a wildflowers. It might, changes as well. So before it changes, I want to try one more time. Even on that day, I spent about half an hour looking for the composition.
Wow.
But sometimes you can't really find. I think that's my ability to improve, to see the good composition. Yeah, so.
So another 3-hour each way drive to
Yeah.
try to find the right composition for yourself. Would you ever give up? Like, would you ever get to a point where you've been there so many times and you've tried so many things? Have you ever been, okay, that's it, I'm done. I've tried everything that I can, different lights, different time of the season, or
So,
not yet?
At the moment, I have one frame. I've been trying more than 10 times.
Wow.
Same place, same tree. If you look at the photo, it looks all similar. But it's very different for me.
Okay.
I'm still looking for it. So that's one place I still doing it because I'm doing one of the I have several projects. One of them is taking a photo of gum tree. So I've been taking a gum tree for last more than 2 years now.
Okay.
Haven't finished yet. Yeah, but one of the gum tree I want to take a photo of is this frame that I'm working on, and I tried more than 10 times at the moment. I still need to
Amazing.
go back.
If you guys can't tell, Ryan is a perfectionist, absolute perfectionist. By the way, let me know when that's finished. I love gum trees. There's something incredibly peaceful about them. I think to me they represent my journey in Australia. For some reason, I moved here about 15 years ago, and I've absolutely fell in love with Sydney and Australia. So when that's done, let me know. I will be your first customer to
Thank
buy
you.
a print from you
Actually,
on that one.
that project is I'm trying to do working collaboration with the painter.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
okay.
Still looking for the painter. I have
Haven't found a painter yet.
but I want to have very specific criteria, which is I want them to be in Korea. Who doesn't know about gum tree? So it gives me a bit more like interesting perspectives. So I'm looking for someone who is doing painting like more seriously, not just only for fun, because I want to make it as a book, or like not book, it's a zine
It's a
as
zine,
well.
okay.
Because making a zine, it costs money and it just
a lot
takes
of
a lot
time
of
as
time
well.
as well. So I want someone who is more responsible for that one as well.
Of course.
And then also, the reason I start the gum tree is all my favorite photographers, mostly they are in American photographers. And their photography, most of them, like their photography is somewhat similar because it's all American, nature photography.
Right.
And I was looking for those frames as well in Australia. Of course, you can't find
Can't
it.
find different nature.
And I got really frustrated all the time. And at one point I was thinking, I want to take photos of something Australian, but in the nature. And I was thinking like, there's a gum tree everywhere.
Yeah.
Gum tree everywhere. And I start taking photos of gum tree, and then that's just amazing. And there are tons of different types of gum tree, which I didn't know much about before. Yeah, so I've been doing that, project at the moment.
That's another project for you.
Yeah.
And this is, again, another reason I want to talk to you, because you're one of the photographers I know in Sydney that actively does projects, but also you've just released and sold out your first zine.
Yeah.
And that's something, a zine, it's something that's been on my mind, and I got to admit I've been not super proactive on it, but I think I've finally gotten to a point where I know what I want to do for my first zine. But that's another reason I want to talk to you, because a lot of photographers that I know are, they don't print their work, they don't have a zine, not that you have to, no one says you have to, but I think to me it's important, and you've already done this process, so I wanted to kind of hear your story one more time and share that with our audience around the amount of time, effort, planning, and again, you being the very in particular perfectionist that you are. So yeah, let's move to that. Tell me about the zine, and I think that will probably fill up a good 2 hours. No, I'm kidding. It won't be 2 hours, but that was like an incredible, seeing your zine in person and then hearing your story about it was amazing. So I'd love to share that with the audience if possible.
So that first zine was about the sand, and it's actually about the texture. And because one of the interesting places in Sydney, we call Anna Bay, up in Newcastle.
Yeah. Anna Bay is beautiful.
Yeah, they have a sand dunes, and then a lot of people think that's a desert, which is not, but it looks like desert. And then I've been there several times, and I get really interested about the texture. And then even though it's a nature, it just changes every single time. Depends on the wind, depends on the weather.
Of course.
And then there was, while I'm doing gum tree project, I was a bit stuck what to do. So I want to change my topic a little bit, just put away, from the gum tree for a while. So I started sand. It was interesting. In the zine, there is 15 photos. Most of the photo, because I've been shooting for that 1 year. And then for that 1 year, I've been to sand dune more than 30 times.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think first 6 months, I didn't make any good photos.
Okay.
I think I have a lack of understanding about the place. And then after 6 months later, because every time I'm coming back, I have no photos. And it looks okay, but it's not what I want. And then I realized that I have a, lack of information, understanding about the light, about the subject as well. So that's the time what I really want to take photos in the sand dune, what kind of texture I want to show to other people. And I started going for sunrise, sunset. That's the time that I have a good light as well. And then sometimes middle of the day as well. So most of the 15 photo was taken for last 4 months of that project.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think that gives me the idea how importance of the understanding about the subject.
The subject.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's the first 6 months you didn't really have much that you were happy with.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. And then talk to me about the selecting your images, finding a printer that you were happy with. And for those of you who haven't seen Ryan's zine, that little, what do you call it?
I call window.
Window, yes, the window as well, because that was probably my favorite thing about your zine. It's just a very creative, unique way to present an image, and kind of, like you said, a window. It's like a sneak peek before you actually get to the image.
So that idea comes from while I was taking photos. I was also thinking, how am I going to show these works to people? But I want them to know why I took these photos. Because once I was talking to one of my friends was saying, should I put the title on the photo or not? And then some people say, yeah, you should put the title. Some people say, oh, you shouldn't, you need to leave it to the viewers. But I feel like I want viewer to know why I take photos. Their interpretation can be different,
Of course.
but that's up to them. But I want them to know why I took this photo. And then also, as I told you, this project is about the texture. And then how am I going to show this texture in a small zine? Because small zine, it's hard to tell. So I brought up with this window to showing what's my main subject or my main point of the view in the photo. And then after that, you can see whole photos together. And I was talking to my friends about this idea, and then he said like, oh no, it's not realistic. I know the printing, you can't make like that happen. It's very hard. If someone said no, you'd have that feeling, I'm gonna make it happen.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, so that's to me as well.
So if anyone's out there want to make Ryan do something, just tell him no.
Yeah,
and he'll get it done.
I have that things like, no, I'm gonna do it.
That's how you get inspired. Yeah. It's a challenge, right?
Yeah,
it's a
because
physical mental challenge.
it's my work. I know it's gonna be hard. I didn't know it's gonna be that hard. But
am I right in saying you hand cut every single window for 50 zines?
So my printing shop was also, he was concerned, like, are you sure you're gonna cut that? I have another idea, you don't need to cut. Like, no, I'm fine, I'm gonna cut. It should be all right. Just, the rectangular, cut. And actually it takes 45 minutes each zine. So it was pretty tough.
Yeah?
But at the end, when I cut every single zine, I feel like I have more that feeling of it's my zine. It's mine. It's not done by someone else, it's mine. And some people, like a lot of people loves it, which is I'm very pleased with. Yeah.
That's also, to me, it's like almost a piece of you is not just the image that you made, but an actual something else physically that you made as part of zine as well. It is incredible to see. So hopefully, for those of you who haven't had a chance, find someone in Sydney who's got a copy and go have a look at it.
You can still buy the portfolio and then zine together.
Oh, the portfolio and zine together. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about how initially you tried a couple of local printers to test their papers and the results, and then you ended up choosing someone from overseas, correct?
Correct, yeah. So after I finished all the designing, everything, I looked for the printing shop through online. And then there are a few of them available in Sydney or Melbourne and Brisbane. And then I sent my sample printing. And I think because when I received the sample, it was really good, but it wasn't what I really want to make it. And then they didn't have much choices in terms of paper.
Right.
And in terms of the weight of the paper as well. And then, as you probably know by now, I'm very specific about every single thing.
No, I haven't noticed, Brian. I haven't noticed.
So I tried to find somewhere else, and then by accident, one of my friends said, like, well, I can help you out, that's my job, and then I do this kind of things, so show me what you want to do. And then I told him like this, and then he's back in Korea. And I think in Korea, this kind of job is very like common.
Okay.
And choosing paper in more than 10 different paper. And then depends on what you want to do. And then there is a very specific, indication, what is this for? How's the weight? How's the texture? So he gave me I gave him, I want a matte paper. I want to have a bit of texture, and I don't want thin paper. I want a little bit thick. And then he gave me all the information, and I received the sample. It was amazing. And yeah.
Am I right in remembering you actually flew out to Korea once, or did you have it shipped to you to test as a test?
For the test, they sent it to my parents' house,
Okay.
and then we did a bit of the FaceTime.
FaceTime.
It was a bit hard. My mom said, "Oh, it looks okay. Like it looks good. Like, no, I want specific details
Yeah,
like
Mom.
this and like." So she tried to give me all the information, and looks like at the end, my question to my mom was, "Does it look cheap?" And she said, "No,
No,
no, it looks nice."
it looks nice. Beautiful.
Okay, good.
That's what you want to hear.
Yeah, because
Got mom's approval.
yeah, because for me, I'm a photographer, and then the people who is buying this zine can be photographer, can be non-photographer who just love photography. I want them to feel good,
Yeah.
not cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much I sell it for. I want people to feel it's good enough. They're not wasting money.
If I can rephrase that, you want people to feel like they've walked away with a piece of art, something of quality,
Yeah,
as opposed to something that was made quickly and inexpensively. You want to know, you want them to feel the love that you put in. I mean, let's be honest, you spend a year on the project?
for taking photos for
Taking
year,
photos
yes.
and then a year working on making the zine?
About 6 months.
6 months,
probably.
okay. So a year and a half all up, and obviously let alone the costs and all of that. So you want people to feel the amount of love that you put. And again, everything I've learned from you so far over the past couple of conversations is that you're a man who believes in quality and making as perfect of a project and a zine, and everything that you do is just perfection. So, and that shows in the zine. So I think it was definitely a success in my humble opinion.
Thank you.
Of course. And you're working on another project at the moment besides the Gumtree one, or is this it?
So the gum tree one is looks like it's getting a bit longer,
Okay.
because at the moment I'm not 100% sure what's my project's going on at the moment. So I try to find, but I'm not in a hurry to find the answer, because it's just ongoing.
Ongoing.
And then as a part of that sand, the first zine project was sand, and then
That's right.
this is a part of the big project which I call 4 elements. The 4 elements of fire, water, the wind, and earth. And then this is a part of the earth, and then I'm working on the other 3 at the moment. And the last few weeks I started the water. And then sneak peek is I call subtitle as the life of water. That's my another one at the moment.
Unmovable.
So my goal at the moment is finishing one by one for those 4 projects, and then making each zine. When I finish all of them, I want to make it as a proper book, as a one, and also want to do the proper exhibition as well with those photos.
I honestly can't wait. So let me just recap that. You've done sand, and then you've got 3 other elements, wind, fire, water, and then each one. So how long do you think, because I'm thinking this one took you a year and a half, do you think it'll be another year and a half per, or are you working in parallel on those 3 projects?
So some people were saying, like, you can do at the same time, but thinking about each subject is not easy.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to focus on one of each time. So at the moment, I'm focusing on the water, and at the same time, I'm still taking photos of the gum tree at the side, but I'm not thinking to start fire and wind.
Just yet?
But if I have an idea, I might do one by one. But I think timing, I'm aiming like maximum 1 year each of the project. But you never know. It can be earlier, it can be longer. And because I'm not restricted by time, I'm just go as it flows. But I just need to make, because the reason I'm making as 1 year is I need to have that finishing time, because otherwise it's just ongoing.
Ongoing.
Yeah. Because even sand, after I finish sand, I have one photo I really want to take, like the one I put it on the zine was like 98%. I want something perfect.
Oh my gosh.
I tried like several times, like no, it's very hard. So after I released the zine, I was about to go to sand dune again, and my wife said like, John, I think you need to be away from sand dune for a while. Just, you know,
To get some, maybe
yeah.
some fresh eyes.
Yeah, I think
perspective.
that's a good advice. I try not to go. I still really want to go, but try not to go. Yeah, so hopefully I finish each project each year, but not sure yet.
Not sure yet. So
Yeah.
you've given yourself about a year per subject.
Yes, correct.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you that we talked about this morning or previously that, or is there anything that you want to share that we haven't spoken about yet?
I think, not sure. We talk about quite a
You
lot
have
of.
your own printer at home. I
Oh, yeah.
realized that we talked about that. So
Yeah.
you mentioned it briefly early on. Tell me about, actually, I'm curious because not that I have the space, but it's something that I've considered looking into.
Mm-hmm.
What's the benefit of having your own printer?
So, as you probably can imagine, sending to printing center, like printing shop, can be much better quality because they are the professional.
Right.
But having a printer gives me a lot of thinking about my photography.
Okay.
Because as I mentioned, since I bought printer, my photography has been changed. So understanding of the color, understanding of the texture of the paper and everything just gives me more idea about how to take photo, what to take photo, and what do I want to do as a final print. So a lot of people think having a printer will cost less, but actually it costs more because you're doing a lot of sample printing. It's
Sure.
just very expensive, and then ink itself is extremely expensive. So I usually buy, because my printer have a 10 different ink, the cartridge, and then one set of cartridge is, how much was it? What, like $180?
Ooh, per cartridge?
No,
Total?
Yeah, total.
Okay.
And then each
Phew.
cartridge only have a 10 mil.
Right.
Yeah.
So how many prints would you get from that? Roughly.
Roughly, it's hard to tell. So if you're printing A4 paper, just on the middle, it will cost about, I would say $5 at least, only for sample.
Okay.
And then you're doing a lot of sample printing because you want to make your own color for each print. And then also you need to do sample printing for the different papers as well. Because looking at the paper and then printing on the paper is different. So you need to print on the same, same photo in a number of different paper to choose what you want.
Wow.
So the printing itself, I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, but because I started, I enjoy it. I just wasting my money on the printing. Yeah.
It definitely sounds like the full photography journey from the scouting of the location, revisiting the location multiple times, working on perfectionism of the image from the tools that you use. You have a medium format camera, you have a digital camera, you have a film camera, and you do your own printing a little bit for learning purposes, trial purposes, and then obviously you've done a zine and you're working on multiple projects. So it just seems like you've got the whole photography journey down, at least. You've got a foot in every aspect of it. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's huge.
Thank you.
And your work is incredible.
Oh,
and
thank you
I
so
wanted
much.
to have you on just because of your different experience. You're still a photographer. Just because you don't do street doesn't mean you can't be on this channel. We love to have photographers because it's about the journey of photography, not necessarily the subject of the photography. Anything else that you want to share?
I'm not sure. Just come to the nature.
Come to nature. Nature's amazing.
Look, the thing is, because a lot of your friends is also my friends.
Yes.
Because about a year ago, I was in the city every single day with my Fujifilm X100V. I was coming to city every single day to take photos of the street. The reason why I come to street was I was really keen why people love about street photography. Like, I like their photos, but I love nature. So I want to know why street photography is so fascinated by a lot of people. So I tried about 6 months. I coming city every day. So I met Jay, team, everyone. I enjoyed it, but at the end, it wasn't my type of photography.
It wasn't for you.
Yeah, because everyone is different, and then I want to be have a bit of healing time in the nature. But in the city, I feel like I'm gonna miss this shot. I'm gonna miss this shot. I'll always be at high tension as well. Yeah. So if you haven't been to in the nature, you just need to come. Sometimes I don't take photos. I just relax, looking for something that I, want to take, and then I come back later again.
Sure.
And good thing for the nature is they're always there. You just need to go back, and then they'll be there again. Yeah. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree with the nature piece. Nothing more peaceful than switching off all your digital devices and being on a beach or going for a walk with the kids, without the kids, by yourself. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on, Ryan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I can't wait to get this out to everyone, and can't wait to see your projects done. Like, that's just the amount of love, passion, dedication, let alone time that you put into your work is incredible. So thank you so much for being on, and I'll see you maybe in nature next time.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're in nature now.
Yeah. Come
Thanks for
to
being on,
the Blue
Ryan.
Mountain next time.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Awesome.